Ladies and gents, here we are. And we are here with the third place match of Warlords 4. A massive tournament that will all end today. Leary and Tato, unfortunately for both, did not end up in the final. Leary getting toppled by Yo with a crazy comeback from Yo. And Tato going down to Hera. Both semifinals were really competitive. Both these two played amazing. We end up here. There's a $1,300 jump in prize pool between 4th and 3rd place. So there's a lot of financial incentive for these two to grind out for this and get one last showing for their fans and for the community. Tato's playing as the Burgundians. Then we got the Mayans for Leary. I will definitely get to all that, but I need to say shout out to the freaking lieutenant. That would be Lieutenant Dan. Lieutenant Dan, thank you so much, man. We are really close to climbing back up above that 3K milestone for subs. I think we're like 80 away now. And your sub bomb is a big reason to thank for that. Thank you so much, Lieutenant Dan. And thanks for continuing to just watch and hang out. I hopefully enjoyed the stream. Tato, when he played Saracens the other day, he built a mill inside of his walled area. And with the Burgundians, I think you could justify that here, right? Because you can get super cheap farm upgrades, and then you don't have to be exposed at all. Now, I still kind of feel like he is going to leave and come out to the berries and build the mill there. And then he can still focus on the farming. But you have a lot of food on this. And Tato doesn't seem to want to take any risks. Leary has already built the mill. Leary's gold is over here. And there's almost too much food on enclosed. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but there's just so much of it. So Leary can click up pretty shortly here, I imagine. Actually, not able to get the food as quickly as he would have liked. So he's idling just to get the drop off. But he pushes in his final deer. He'll move forward to scout. There's Tato's mill, so none of the sneaky mill shenanigans inside. And Tato's got what? Like 5 buffaloes now? So 750 food on top of what's left on the Rhino. He'll probably be on his way to Castle Age as well. I mean, Burgundians is fairly standard here. Typically, we see a lot of Cav. We see a lot of Boomy Civs. Mayans, not so much. But I've seen... I just think Mayans are incredible, especially in the 9 villager starts, because they could actually have the competitive uptimes. In the standard starts, you would never see Mayans here because they would be later to feudal age. It's kind of crazy how much that changes, but it's just, you get housed right away with the standard start. And you don't here. And so you can delay loom. It means you have that one villager working that whole time in Dark Age. Is it jarring for you guys? I mean, I'm guessing most of you listening to me right now have an understanding on that importance. But is it jarring for anyone to just hear that is that big of a difference? Like, because I say this because I cast a lot of mid and low elo players and people are just getting loom at whenever and they're not really thinking about it, but just delaying that loom upgrades, that one extra vil, and it makes a massive difference here. Demolition says, as a noob, yes. Okay, cool. Thank you for being the one to come out and say that is surprising to you when you could have easily just been like, nah, dude, it makes logical sense. Range from Tato. Wow. I mean, kind of interesting. He's moved forward. He sees the range from Leary. So he's expecting there to be archers. The issue really is going to be, though, is that it's not just going to be archers from Leary. It's also going to be eagles. And Leary, making some eagles, sees the archer range, is probably expecting skirms from Tato, but Tato does not want to go only skirm here. And he will drop the tower. And there he goes. Someone's asking me a question about AoE 3. I know next to nothing about AoE 3. So I don't know if I can give you many answers there. Sorry about that one. I know there's some people that really love that game. But I'm pretty much strictly an AoE 2 guy. Tato did get housed a little bit here, and he snacks Wheelbarrow, which is obviously an upgrade that's great to have long-term, but that really benefits farmers. And so I think in his mind, he's playing so defensive anyways, he's going to feel as though he has some time to cook. But I that's not necessarily the perfect timing on that. But you're going to have it, and eventually Leary's going to need to get it, and it is cheaper for you, so... I wonder if there's a... No, there's no way Tato will go for handcart in Feudal Age, right? I think this series is too important, but technically you could do that. But again, you really need a lot more villagers. And when you research these upgrades, you're then down in vills. And Tato's 3 villagers behind because of that wheelbarrow. I like the tower, though, and what Leary might think is that Tato's going to counterattack, because when you have a tower like this, that means you don't have army, usually. And now Leary sees this. I think Leary's really expecting a counterattack to be possible, because he doesn't know that Tato still has his units inside the range. He is moving around now to hit the berries. And there's a wall villager from Leary. This could be a nice field snipe from Tato, and this was what you want against the Mayans. Get some damage. And wow, Leary didn't try a quick wall or anything there. But maybe he's just... He can't be bothered. He's happy the scout still took some damage. And here he is. He sees the range with the flag. Now, that doesn't tell him how many units are in there. And Tato has to shift positions on the golds. Leary wants revenge. And Leary forced Tato to show his hand. So Tato with a mix of archers and skirms. Still, he could counterattack, though, right? You have the tower. You could go to Leary's base right now. Leary's still just making archers at home himself. Tato is ahead in res collected because of Bowsaw. And has quite a few farms coming up here. So, Tato could maybe reach Castle Age with a better army count, but Mayan archers are so cheap and their res lasts longer. I think I'm never going to bet against Leary being faster to Castle Age when playing archers. And a relatively passive opening here to the game. Yeah, I never really played much AoE3. So it's hard for me. Like, it's easy for me as an AoE2 creator because I know AoE3 isn't well loved by some people, to make some jokes every now and then. But really, I haven't played it enough to make, like, solid assessments on it. I know there's, like, cards in it, which is weird to me, but I'm an AoE3 noob. Don't know enough about it. Some people really swear that it's good, or could have been good with some different changes, so. You ever play Empire Earth? Nope. List a bunch of games that as an AoE2 guy you think I probably have experience in. And I will prepare to disappoint you. Ooh, Tato. Wow. The Spearman just went on strike there. Stronghold? Okay, now Stronghold I played. But yeah, Path of Exile, no. RuneScape, I played a little bit, but not enough to really say I'm a RuneScape player. Asian Mythology, I didn't play that much of. The only memories I have of like AOM was just like flying around with Pegasus, but I don't even know. The more I think about it, that might not be AOM. That could have been something else. Yeah, the games for me was Stronghold, Age of Empires 2, and Roller Coaster Tycoon. Those were the main things for me. Never played Rust. Never played a lot of Civ. Even though I think I would like Civ. I actually bought Civ. And I have a Steam Deck because I wanted a game to play like while on the couch, hanging out. Because I don't want a game to play on PC because I'm on my PC so much. But I can't seem to get a feel for it. It feels like it's a game I have to play on PC. And it's a struggle for me. So I'm trying to learn it, and it's just, ugh. If it's awkward, that's the whole point. I want a game that isn't awkward. I want to chill. Scout goes down for Tato in the north. There will be a lot of action eventually, but for now, it's been a very passive opening. To be expected on enclosed. Leary coming forward with the crossbows, but the big thing here for Leary is Tato built a tower and he didn't. So he goes for a second town center. He goes for a third town center. Leary should have an amazing eco compared to Tato, at least in Vil count. And Tato's first job is to defend from this. That tower really won't do too much. Tato has to focus on the front units, and then the arrows will hit the back. You can see with the last couple volleys there, it was definitely focused on that same crossbow. And so he missed everything. And Tato getting crossbow. Tato getting bodkin. His army's down here off screen. But he might need to be prepared for some struggles here. Tato's approach on enclosed in the other sets as well is to play, like, to give up a lot of map control and not really play with offensive army. And it did work well in the, I think it was Saracens Hindustani's game against Sato. That would have been the round of 12. But, like, in the quarters and in the semis, the defensive opening on enclosed, it never really seems to click for me, at least. He goes for the Siege Workshop because he felt he needed it. Now Leary's just going to back away. There's an extra scout there from Tato. Maybe an auto scout even. But again, 3 town centers for Leary. And just 1 for Tato. Tato needs some pretty big fights here. The crossbows are on the hill for Leary. That's not bad. Also see Skirmisher patrolling around on that relic. There's 6 relics on this map, I think. I always thought it was 6. Maybe it's... Chat, you guys can count the 6, right? Well, hopefully you can count the 5, because I think there's 5, actually. I could have sworn that sometimes it's 6, though, because they always spawn on the rock terrain. But, yeah, it looks like it's 5. Like, a relic didn't spawn where these armies are, when it normally would. But just important to think about that, because the game will likely go to Imp. And if the game goes to Imp, I think both civs have really solid chances here. I think I would prefer... I mean, I'm more of a Cav style player. I really like to go to have Hussar and Paladin. But I think Mayans are actually superior if they can get to their Halbs, their Skirms, and Eagles. It all comes down to how much gold you lock down. But the reason I say that on this map, Mayans can be stronger is because there's so much gold compared to other maps. And Cavalier now for Tato as he's 10 villagers behind. But he's advancing across the map. Crazy just how much micro is happening here as Leary is backing up. And now another group of crossbows comes in. This Mangonel took a long time to get here. Tato won't have another one anytime soon. And I'd be shocked if Leary loses too much there. Look, Tato backs away. Guys, if you're playing, go forward with this army. Your opponent's not Leary. You're probably okay. But Leary just commands so much respect with his crossbow control that Tato's just not really certain he can advance forward here. 40 seconds away from the upgrades is Leary. And he knows Tato's still there. And Res Collected's just hit even. But it's ticking upwards for Leary with the 15 extra villagers. And Tato just now starting to build that 3rd TC. What's nice for Tato is he boxed off that relic. So he's able to get that relic right now. And I think he has a monk moving over for more relics too. So he might be able to snag a couple of them pretty quickly. Leary really needs to get Wheelbarrow. It's weird, but with the Mayans, you just feel like you're okay without it sometimes. I don't really have an easy way to explain it right now or focus on other things. But fairly common for me when I'm playing Mayans as well, for Wheelbarrow to be very late. Ballistics is in for Leary. He has more crossbows. Pretty soon he's about to have more siege. And now Tato's trying to run away. And this is where Tato needs a switch. But if that switch is going to be Cav, he only has 1 unit on the field. And he keeps trying to hit Leary as Leary closes in. But Leary just times it and backs away every time. It's insane just how easy he makes his look. And he's chasing Tato across the map. Does lose a unit. So he is human. Sends in that group, kills the Mangonel, and now Tato really needs all hands on deck. Probably just needs more siege here. He should have time for that. And he's also going for Elite Skirm. And Leary, this is interesting. Like, I think usually you move forward. But I think maybe in Leary's mind, he just knows, okay, Tato's got to go for all this investment to defend me. And let's just back away for now. Surely his mind is on the Imperial Age as he snipes a couple crossbows here. And those are some easy kills. That Cavalier will basically do nothing here. And Tato's just wondering where the main army is. Tato at least sees it. So he knows now, oh, okay, let's move forward. I think Tato was really expecting Leary to be coming in. And now Leary just sitting at home. And he's gonna wait for him here. This is the patience that I think more people when playing archers need in this type of situation. Leary shows it almost each and every time. Sure, he can be aggressive, but there's more that could go wrong than could go right when you're so close to the Imperial Age. He should know that since he built his town centers right away, and Tato had the tower, that Tato won't have that. This does allow Tato to take some initiative, though. And that villager gets sniped. Leary's killed 0 villagers this game. Tato's Burgundians with a pretty solid eco behind might be able to get 4 relics. And has skirms with ballistics now in the group. Leary might not know ballistics is in. Okay, now he does. In the earlier engagements, Tato definitely didn't have it, but you can tell based on that engagement he does. And Leary's mangonels force Tato away. And Leary's on the way to the Imperial Age. Has 1, 2, 3 archer ranges. Might even see a 4th. And this kind of feels like forward castle territory. Like, if you know Tato's on the right side, and you can maybe defend this choke point with 1 mangonel, maybe you move forward and drop a castle right here. I'm seeing more ranges. We'll see if Vills come. Yeah, here come the Vills. It is really good call from Leary. Super easy for us because we're just watching and we see everything and we don't have the pressure. Someone says no armor for Leary. Crazy. Yeah, I'll never forget. Daniel told me once, he says, he said the same rules of the game don't apply to Leary. He says he never needs to research armor because he never loses units. Too bad there's not armor for mangonels, though. This is Leary getting punished a little bit for not defending with everything. Tato diving in, showing he can micro. This is risky for Tato. The Siege Workshop is right there. And this is the risk from Leary not to stay home with everything. But here come the Vills. And Tato doesn't have defense for that. Leary with some good micro. Leary getting some big hits here. And Tato really just wants to kill the Siege. He should be able to do that. And he needs to stay close to the mangonel so it doesn't get a final hit. A Cavalier from Tato will be through. The Siege goes down. There's a lot of eco he could maybe raid. Panic TC now on the back for Leary. But the castle's on the way up. On the hill. Kind of a wild scenario, but Leary doesn't have anything on gold this second. I think that will change, though. I think these Vills can all go to this gold. The Vills that were on this TC will go to gold. And Tato will be stuck in Castle Age. Tato's not going to have anything on gold. This is Tato's gold. And, okay, he has a couple of Vills over here. He has the 4 relics. But how are you supposed to stop Leary with bracer crossbows now? Expect it. Run from it. Dread it. Leary crossbow timing victory is still going to arrive all the same, it feels. Population's close, but this army's only going to get stronger for Leary, and he'll be advancing forward here soon. He's defending with the gates. There's still a lot of skirms from Tato. Leary will hit skirms with the mangonels, but Tato's micro has been really good here. He's got a lot of value from this army. Leary's economy's awful, but then everything here just dies to these crossbows. And your TCs will start to get trebbed. And your Vills are exposed. So yeah, it's awkward for Leary. But he has more crossbows on the way. And he's clearing up this Castle Age army from Tato. And Tato is slowly losing control. If he ever even had control. It just... Leary instills such confidence. And the only person that was actually able to make me think this guy can lose was Mr. Yo at that turnaround in the semifinal, which is still one of the best sets I've seen in Age of Empires in a really long time. So in Tato's mind, maybe he's thinking the same. He can find a way to maybe break Leary eventually. But again, most of that army got cleared. And now the crossbows are coming over this way. Tato's still in Castle Age. He lost one TC. His relics are right there too, which is kind of sad for relic enjoyers. And Tato's going to lose these skirms too. And pretty soon Tato's going to be up against 50 crossbows. That still can be Arbalest. This has just been the difference from having Chemistry and Bracer. It's all about the timings when you play ranged units. And Leary found the timings. Tato taps out in the first game of this third place match. And well played, Leary. Again, like, this is now 2 games I've seen with Tato on and close. He tries to find the timing of Elite Skirm and then +2 armor on Knights. He tried the same against Hera. But then by the time he gets those numbers, the Imp is in for the opponent, and then everything just kind of dies to that one unit. And I think a big reason behind that is because Tato falls behind economically with the town centers. The second Leary saw that tower, he knew, okay, I can't do damage, but I'm just go to Castle Age now, and I'll just beat him in the boom. And that's precisely what he did. I know Res Collected says that it's close, but it didn't really feel that close with the Vil count in the middle of the game there. And more Vils means more like coverage on different resources, more expansion, which Leary was able to do with 4 TCs on different golds. Leary just played a perfect game. And Tato will have to go for something a little bit more complex, I think, to beat Leary today. So game 2, we've got Japanese for Leary, and we've got the Persians for Tato. Now, I mentioned Persians could be insane on this, but then I thought maybe Persians was going to be played on Kawasan. Tato opts for them here. Do note that if we have Kawasan later, Leary will probably have Persians because he also picked Persians. It was the #1 pick from both. So Tato definitely needs to tie this up because otherwise he's down 2 games, needs to win 3 straight, and has already lost with his #1 pick. I think Japanese and Persians is pretty similar here. You start with flexible enough resources to get the dock down, get the TC down. Persians should be able to get that first fishing ship out faster because they start with more wood as well. And because they also have more food in the bank, they can then keep an extra villager on wood too. So Persians should have the slight eco lead. Japanese, though, have the man-at-arms. And Japanese kind of win this matchup with their military. If they can get into pikes and like Arbalest, it can be really strong. But that's like more of your late game scenario. We rarely see Imp on this map, but if it does go Imp, Japanese will want their Trebs. Hard to get to because of the lack of stone on the map, but there is stone. And then the Persians, they can go for bombard cannons, which Japanese cannot. But I would guess that we're probably not going to see Imp. The junks are out. Everyone likes a good junk sighting. And this version of the map has junks which trade. So I don't know if we'll have junks in the finals. But we've got junks in the third place match. And so these junks are bringing in 191 gold. I forgot to guess. But I definitely would have guessed 191. You have to take my word for it. But that influences their build. So I think the fact that it's a 9-villager start combined with the fact you have junks means that people don't walk to TC this. Because they could just build the TC super fast, and then they get gold from the junks anyways. So it kind of simplifies their game plan in some ways. But I mean, there is still that slight risk that if you don't protect the gold, you're going to have problems. But the guarantee is if you delay your TC to walk over here, you're down a villager or 2 compared to the opponent, which is just horrible at this level. So, yo, Sonny, what's up? Thanks for the 45 months. Welcome. There's Tato's lumber camp, so he'll be clicking up to feudal age soon after that. Hertzum, thank you for the 7 months. FM, thanks for the 4. Welcome. I will not do that, but thank you for the suggestion. This is a tough name for me because there's a lot of lowercase i's and lowercase l's. It's like nihilism, but nihility. Not nihility. I don't know how to say your name. Thanks for the 11 months, though. Vapor Trail, thank you for the 83. Windmill Enchanter, welcome. Thank you for the new sub. Astris, thank you for the year. Welcome, guys. Feels pretty much like Leary's going to do what he's done every other time, which is some walls in towards the TC. Little circular walls in towards the TC. Keeps the gold protected, keeps the wood protected. Tato is late with the barracks for proper man-at-arms timing, but if he's building it with 2 vills, he might still try it. I take it back. I think he'll just play archers here, but maybe he will. Still a minute away. And Tato loves to bring in the elephants from long distance. He also loves to scout with villagers to get the extra buffalo. He's done that way more than Leary, for example. Leary doesn't have any fresh rhino underneath the TC, and he only has 5 buffaloes. Here, for example. Did he scout this? Yeah, see, he knows that's there, and he won't even send a vill to get it. And Tato has done that on both sides. And Tato is adding the militia. Just has to be careful, though, because there's 2 tigers there. And these tigers haven't eaten in weeks. Yikes. They're always there. I feel kind of bad having them there. Because I remember I had the option to remove them from this for Wandering Warriors Cup, and we left them there just to prevent any, like, real crazy vill rush shenanigans. But that tiger is apparently not ready to eat. Leary doesn't have loom. This could be a very fast game. Okay, barracks goes up. But Tato needs to attack with the back militia and click with the front militia to block. But Leary is out clicking him right now. But man-at-arms is in. This is where if you have a scout, that villager's obviously dead. And villager does die. Wow. Leary, greedy not having loom there on a map where man-at-arms can happen. And he tried to build up on the front and gets punished. The water control will matter now. There's still the junks out there. Don't worry. We'll focus on that. 2 docks for Leary. 2 docks for Tato. And Tato will send quite a few fires out of his docks right now. Tato has not gone for an archer range right away. And he's investing the wood into the fires on water. But you need a lot of fire to kill the Japanese fish. So that should give Leary some time to adapt a little bit. And this is another game now where Leary is going into archers, which should worry Tato. I like the build-up from Leary in front of this. It's just protecting his wood line. As long as he doesn't send archers into this little gap now, he should be fine. And man-at-arms for Tato looping around. But again, he's not going for a range yet. And he should know that Leary has one. So maybe another game where Tato will need a defensive tower. I even see a blacksmith now for Tato. That's super crazy. Is he planning on using that? And getting armor on the man-at-arms? I kind of doubt that. If anything, he might be thinking about a castle age right now. And fire galleys are headed this way. Tato is passing Leary's junk. But that junk doesn't benefit Leary unless it brings gold home. And the archers are there. Just so much food. So many resources to work with for both of them. And just a spearman now. Okay, but that spearman, it brings a lot of intel. He sees the market and he sees the blacksmith. So this will tell Leary that Tato's definitely not making feudal age army after the man-at-arms. It's wild. Tato produced a lot of fires initially. By the time he got over here, Leary had enough fires to defend. And Tato's junk is there. I don't think we're going to see a lot of junk micro, so I think that just comes right back into the fires and probably goes down. And you would expect the same for Leary's junk, but Leary has 200 gold. So if he makes it back, that's a pretty big boost for him. And Tato's junk is going to go down. Stop telling me to stop saying the junk. It's the name of the ship. It's what it is. I gotta talk about it. I'm not trying to be weird, all right? Just because chat's weird doesn't mean I'm weird, all right? Chat doesn't define me. Anyways, no more junk talk. The junks are dead. And how many trips did they get? They got, okay, so only 2 trips, actually. 381 golds. It's crazy, though. That 400 gold is why they're on the way to Castle Age right now. That's influenced everything. And so Tato's man-at-arms are just sitting there dying. They, at least, are distracting an archer, I guess. And another game where Tato drops a tower. On the right side, Tato will really want to advance forward with fires. And what Tato is probably the best at on this map is really prioritizing killing the fish. And so he gets some really good value here. And War Galley's already on the way, so Leary could lose his fishing ships pretty soon. But Leary is knocking on the door here to get into Tato's base. Tato is going to make some knights. Persian knights are great against archers. And Tato's demos land before he has the War Galley upgrade, which isn't ideal, but at least he's getting some hits. And now he'll have the War Galley upgrade before Leary will for a while. And Tato's fires are all spread out. So Tato will be very happy with that one. Should be able to kill off these 2 fires and then can move on and maybe snipe these fishing ships. Leary will lose these fires. And Leary might lose water, so Leary might need the land in the middle to be the focus. I'd like to see monks for Leary if you're expecting knights. I think against Persians, you definitely need the monks. Excuse me. I don't know what's happening right now. There are weak fires here for Tato, but he's stacking the weak one behind the others. And that's just so well good. Like, that's typical Tato there. And now he's found his target. He's found the fish. And again, props to Leary because Leary is just enough to defend. And those fishing ships stay alive for now. They're not working very efficiently, but they're still there. And that, again, is just the defender's advantage on this map, which makes it so interesting. What Leary has not done, though, is he hasn't got the crossbow upgrade. He hasn't really made a lot of units, and he never completed a monastery, so he has to quick wall now. He actually does, and blocks the knights from moving through there. That's really frustrating for Tato. Without that palisade, he probably, maybe even wins the game, honestly. Those are Persian knights. They probably clear all of that. But Tato goes for siege. And unlike the previous game, I'm completely fine with staying 1 TC for both players. The previous game, you needed the town centers. This game, you need the middle of the map. You lose the middle of the map, you're dead. And Leary's still holding on water. Still having just enough to keep his fish alive. And now those fires could turn around and hit Tato's fish. And Tato doesn't have the benefit of being Japanese. So his fish will melt. Like a... Like, I don't know, like ice cream on the 4th of July? I don't know. I mean, I'm more of a... I'm all about ice cream. But I'm not having ice cream on the 4th of July. I'm usually having, like, hot dogs. And, yeah, hot dogs and beans? I don't know. I guess the 4th of July is coming up. I need to figure that one out. I'm usually streaming, actually. I'm online talking about people's junks. If Warlords is happening. Because I don't have junks in any of my tournaments. And the fishing ships get found. Mangonel's now coming through. And so those monks will struggle to get conversions if the siege is there. But if you get 1 conversion, that knight turns around and attacks the Mangonels right away. So that's the game plan for Leary. Look at the micro from Leary here. He pops out with 4 cav archers that don't have bloodlines and almost takes out a Mangonel. And now Tato needs to repair that. Oh, man. Leary's fires. Such a good job from Leary. Honestly, so impressive that he's able to somehow retaliate with some aggression here. And he seems to know that Tato has just enough. It's so easy to over or under make fires in this map. If you make 5 additional fires, like, let's say you're already going to win water, but then you queue up 5 more fires. Well, that's Mangonels and monks you don't have in the middle, and then you can lose there too. These guys are just constantly adjusting on the fly based on what their opponent is sending their way. Or what the opponent is not sending. Mangonels now moving in, and yeah, that monastery will go down pretty quickly here for Tato. Or for Leary, rather. T90, you already have pants. Just add junks to it. The map is not called pants. The map is called Bay. Okay, chat? It's Bay with a Y as well. So don't mess with me. Tato has his monks behind, but they're Persian monks. They won't be all that strong compared to the Japanese. You can't get Sanctity. Having said that, Leary doesn't have Sanctity. And Tato continues to push in, and he gets 2 conversions on the Cav Archers. That's really nice. And Leary's production buildings are being pushed back. He needs all these backup buildings, and this is all at the bottom of the hill. Tato did not win water, but he certainly has not lost water. Things are still pretty close there, but things are looking worse and worse for Leary here on land. You just need that constant repair villager when you're siege pushing Leary, just to heal those mangonels back up. Ram was an amazing play from Tato. Sometimes you'll see the Ram added and it looks kind of useless, but this is really well played. And +2 armor on the Knights. So these Persian Knights are strong, and Tato should just continue with this, even mixing in Scorpions now because he doesn't see siege from Leary. Leary is going to have siege, though. Tato should find out about that potential now. So just needs to be careful with the Scorpions. But if you keep the Scorpions back, it really prevents Leary from taking engagements, right? Leary, he can't use his Cav Archers in defense. So he'll aim to use his siege in defense. There's a good moment. And his Cav Archers are off for the counterattack. Oh, man, if he was here a little bit faster, he could have maybe fully denied that TC. But the town center for Tato goes up at the perfect moment. There's a hole, though. There was a hole. He deleted part of his wall to get out there. He does see this. But oh, is that painful for Tato. And then he also still has to focus on the push. So Leary knows Tato's going to be rattled. Tato will be distracted. And Leary will snipe the Mangonel. Now the Mangonel can hit the Scorpions. And now Tato's kind of falling apart. The Knights have to come home. Idols everywhere for Tato. And that is how you undo someone's forward push, guys. You avoid it and you hit their base. And not that Tato still doesn't have a nice position here. He's Persians. He's got +2 on the Knights. He can maybe kill these Cav Archers. But it was a nice job from Leary to at least regain momentum on the hill. Saying that, though, all of his Cav Archers are going to die. That's the risk. All of the Cav Archers should die if the Knights can chase them. And then Leary also just lost his Mangonel, so Tato will be right back in it on the hill. On water, fish are still fishing for both. But on land, Leary needs wood soon. Like, he needs safe wood to be able to take, and it's all looking increasingly more difficult with Tato here in this position. Nice shot there from Tato. Leary will pull away with the repairs. And the Knights just run around this way. Cav Archers want to save themselves, but they're just going to kill the peasants in the town because they bring the army right into the wood line. Horrible for those villagers, and Leary calls the chi-chi. That's kind of funny. But Leary felt like he had no choice. I mean, he had to save his Cav Archers. He didn't know where else to go. And this is such an uncomfortable position, I think he realizes, with those losses. He's not going to have what it takes. Well played from Tato. Man, Tato's really good on this map. I know that this will be the end of the tournament for both Leary and Tato. But Tato is dangerous on Stranded. He beat, what, Hera on Stranded? He beat Leary now on Stranded? I don't have the full Stranded history from Tato in this tourney, but he really seems to play strong there. And again, Tato plays a little bit more aggressive than defensive, which I think helps him. And the KD was there. The eco was pretty smooth for both, but Tato had more of what you want, which is the food and the golds. And third place match, 1-1. All right. Wow, Tato types good luck, have fun twice. If you say good luck, have fun a second time, does that cancel out the first one? That's disrespect from Tato. How dare he? Game number 3, Malay for Tato. And then we've got Persians for Leary. I think Persians are the superior civ. I think Persians are just... I mean, they're just slightly better than most civs. On a map like this, I felt the same for Stranded, at least at the start. But the Malay, they have the ability to hit the timings with the faster feudal, faster castle age. And they definitely have the ability to compete on water as well. So Tato will probably send a villager over this way or this way. But the Persians, able to get the dock up significantly faster because they just don't need much on food at their start. and can send more villagers over to the wood line. So Leary, yeah, with a big dock advantage lead, I think Tato's villager from here is going to go over here. But that's actually very good for Tato, the fact they're docking a different position. I really don't like Tato's map long term. This gold, it kind of feels out in the middle of nowhere, even though it can be walled. These golds also very far on the other side of the wood line. Leary's map seems way more wallable. Leary, if anything, even seems closer to the middle, right? Like, maybe not, but it feels like he's slightly closer to the middle. So, Napgen looks pretty good for Leary if he can take advantage of it. But the Persians really want to be docked on the same side as the opponent because of how strong their docks are. But you don't really get to make an informed decision on your initial dock here. You're just docking blindly and adapting to if your opponent is there or not. Tato pushing in the deer. Tato's dock feels very late. Like, I know Persians are faster, but still. He definitely could have had the dock up already. I'm not sure what happened here. Now he's building a mill? So that's 100 wood. He definitely could have had the dock down faster. That is a buffalo. Huh? I thought that was a villager. Okay, well, this is planned then from Tato. Tato is choosing not to go to water. And I think he's trying to find if Leary has docked here with the buffalo so he can push in deer with his scout. Because you can't push in deer with buffalo, FYI. I think it's kind of funny, though, to think about. Like, what if they made that change? Would we have the scout being scouting and then the people using sheep and buffalo to push in their deer? But, I mean, based on what we're seeing, then, Leary might be very confused. Leary hasn't scouted this. Leary checked here. He didn't see a dock. So Leary's just assuming that Tato is not docked here, which is correct. But he's going to assume that Tato is docked here, which is incorrect. But is Tato's plan to go... Wow, okay, so we have a barracks already from Tato. Everything about this build is just so unorthodox from Tato. But if you're the worst hybrid civ, maybe you can make an argument for it. But to not have fishing ships at all means you need damage pretty quickly. Leary defends from the first attack from Tato, and he's pretty much set. Now, what could kill Leary here is if he tries to go double docks on the ponds, and he doesn't go for land at all. And I think he's trying to kill Tato's fish over here. Remember, Tato still doesn't know. Now he's going to see Leary's scout. Oh, man, Tato... Okay, he notices now. That's huge because he'll be so fast to feudal age. So he can kill Leary's scout now. But Tato does not know. Look at Leary. He's so confused. He's like, did he dock here? What's he doing? What's he doing? Doesn't see it. Now Tato is looking for the original dock from Leary. Leary's still checking the shoreline, not seeing anything. Will he see the Ville? Maybe? But I think those were just waypoints. And Tato can drop the dock now because Tato didn't see the initial dock from Leary over here, so he assumes the initial dock's here, which is correct. Now, Tato also has 3 militia. Tato also wants to go man-at-arms. Leary's sitting here in the darkness with no scout right now, wondering, like, what is this build that I'm up against right now? And now the militia come in, and the scout is kind of blocking here, and the barracks is going to be delayed for Leary. He could end up losing villagers here as well. It's amazing what a full HP scout does for you, though. Leary knows that he can fight this and maybe get away, but he's forgotten that villager. That villager's been trapped, and I don't think she gets away. He'd have to delete part of his wall to save her. There's no way he quick walls that. He almost got it. But the scout blocks. Beautiful stuff. Person whose name I still cannot pronounce that has the lots of L's and lots of I's in it. Dude, how am I supposed to pronounce your name? Thank you so much for more gifted subs. Man-at-Arms coming through from Tato now. And he can have a fire galley here. So Leary's just really been thrown off guard because it's not the typical typical timings. Dock over here from Tato as well. And Leary always has to wonder, is Tato going to go archers? The answer is no, by the way. No archers yet. So it's only Navy. And fire galleys on the way. Leary will attempt to save this fishing ship. That's crazy he's repairing a fishing ship. And the fishing ship goes down. Villager will need to leave as well, actually. He's barely getting hit somehow. And Tato now sees the flag and will back up with the fire. Tato can just give up on the... Well, I think giving up on this pond's actually... No, that you can't give up on that pond. But you want to focus on killing the fish here first. But it feels like Tato's gone from no initial docks to all the docks. Because, again, no archers yet. Still just hanging around with man-at-arms. Leary's probably going to mill soon to try and take those berries. And Tato's just going to sit there and wait for those units to come out. Use the standard eye as in pin, but make it a bit longer. There are two. Can vouch for that. Well, I was going to say... for you, it's easier, Nihil, because there's not a lot of other things going on, and there's not capitals and lowercase confusing my brain, you know? But I guess it makes sense you can vouch for that. So I'll say Nihili. Because there's a Y somewhere. Surely that's good enough. When still focused on this. Thank you very much. Thank you, Kajuan, as well. Mr. Wololo, thank you for the 9 months with Prime. Leary holding on. The key for him is going to be archers, and that's really nice defense. Tato just looked away for a second. Looked away over to attack the wood line, which Leary already has walled. Or maybe looked over here. See, Leary doesn't think Tato has a second dock here. He thinks he's just one dock, and he thinks that he's going to completely outproduce him. Oh, Tato with some quick walls and a tower now on the gold. As the archers come forward. But Tato's been way more stubborn on water than initially we expected. On land... Well, smiles in chat if you can relate to that. The man-at-arms died to the TC. They did kill an archer, though, and Leary's clearly very distracted. Lots of vills inside of the TC he hasn't sent back. Doesn't have a single farm. And resources collected's pretty close here. Again, I think if you try and play standard timings, I think you struggle against the Persians. And I think if you try that against Leary, you struggle as well. And Leary loses an archer to some villagers. He's losing access to this pond. And over here, there's a demo coming in from Tato, and it's a really nice demo from Tato. It takes out the remaining fishing ship. And we'll see if he wins this pond or not. That'll take some time. It'll also take time to win this pond, because Persian docks. I think the struggle for Tato is going to be getting food eco, since he's had no fish. So he needs a lot more farms. He'll also maybe need a couple skirms for archers. Leary, despite everything, and despite the res collected being so close, he's actually balancing out his res to click up to Castle Age way faster than Tato. But I don't think Leary's going to be able to justify, like, crossbow and whatnot. He's going to get to Castle Age. He won't have a lot of resources. So I think a stable and maybe 1 or 2 knights could work. But not much more than that. The 2 fires in this dock for Leary. He's waiting to click up to castle. And he's missing a building, I believe. I think he forgot a blacksmith. Nice job from Tato to repair here. Leary hoping to use that archer to snipe the repair villager. Yeah, Leary definitely missed his second building, which is why his resources look so good, but he's not on the way. And Tato baits the archer into the fire galley. Wow. I am really impressed with how Tato's played this. This is really well done. And also, Tato loves a few defensive towers if need be, and he's got the stone in the back too. So that's not too bad. That could work. Leary's hoping for 1 demo on these 3 fires, and then those 2 fires hop out so he doesn't lose the pond. He just needs to prevent Tato from fishing here. There's a lot of fish here. And Tato probably needs to make more fires, but just like everyone does, they assume they're fine now. That's just 1 ship. Guess what? It's not. Leary's back. What a recovery from him on this pond. And the villager from Leary even hanging around. We'll go over there to repair the dock. This has been an extremely back and forth game from both. Super stubborn from both. But Leary will be in Castle Age faster. Which could mean more galley, if you consider it worth it. I think it might be worth it just so you don't give up this pond. But it could mean siege. It could mean crossbow. I just don't think with 3 archers, even Leary's not going to research crossbow. But he went from like 10 on food to 0 because he ran out of berries. So he still only has 3 farms. Tato has quite a few. So it's crazy how interesting this game is. Leary hits the timings, but what can he actually afford to do in Castle Age? And I think the most applicable choice here, the tech that benefits him the most would be double bit axe, but also War Galley. Still has docks producing from both sides. I didn't realize Leary didn't get double bit axe. I don't think he did. He realized he didn't have double bit axe. And now he goes for bow saw. I see 4 villagers in the middle. 5, sorry. And cav archers in production for Leary. Still a little surprised that Leary hasn't gone for the War Galley upgrade. He might win both pawns. But he went for the eco upgrades instead. And he is already winning the pawns. If you can win the pawns without that, obviously you're going to want to do that. Well played. Villager goes down. Fires go down. Tato's got to be thinking, what more can I do to beat this guy? And now the second town center's up in the middle. Lots of free food income for Leary, who really needs the food right now. Monastery for the relic. And finally, Tato hits Castle Age. Tato never even sent like 2 vills to stone. So he can't build a second TC, but he also can't build towers, which Tato loves against siege. Leary will maybe fish a little bit on this pond now. Feeling like he can get away with it. And Tato getting Bod Canero pushing forward with archers. Leary's archers are going to die so quickly. 1 goes down. He did get a kill at least. Another one goes down. Leary might be regretting that he went Monastery instead of Siege Workshop. But as long as he can complete this Siege Workshop, things are still fine. He is committed to the boom right now. He doesn't have a whole lot else. Sure, he's got 2 cav archers, but he can't even afford Bodkin. Again, shocking. Now Tato goes to stone. Okay, so it's not too bad. That's normally something Tato loves to do, especially if he gets siege push. There's a hole there, isn't there? Oh, man, this goes back to the early stages of the game when the man-at-arms were there. And Leary just completely forgot that was still open. Leary loses a vill. He's pushed off of gold. That's the same area. And, oh, man, now the wood line as well needs to be abandoned. Tato is going to be loving this. The siege will come home for Leary. But Leary tosses away another villager there, and that siege is painfully slow at getting here. Tato with the university over there is interesting. And it's Tato's turn to nerd out with the crossbows. I think the only thing for Tato that could be awkward would be the long-term golds. So I'm wondering if he TCs the other side of that. This area is okay for now, but you need to protect this wood line. You need to protect that gold, most likely. Tato wants ballistics right now. So he's full micro mode. He knows that Leary has a town center here, most likely, and Leary's monk dies, but drops off the relic. Lots of micro for Tato right now. He dodges there. Ballistics 30 seconds away. Leary still does not have Bodkin on the cav archers, but he's Leary. Another monk trying to get relics will probably die. So that's 200 gold down the drain on monks when he got pushed off of gold. And he doesn't have a lot of vills there. Tato? Tato's micro? Snipes the repair villager. Ballistics is now in. Tato gets in close as well. This is so good from him. That Mangonel cannot hit him. Look at Leary, though. Micro the CA. Back and forth, so Tato can't kill them. These two are insane. How did Leary not lose his Cav Archers there? And now Leary defends. That was insane. Tato staying in the minimum range of the Mango was something else, but he did get hit by this Mango. So, still trying to hit that timing. And these crossbows miss a lot of their shots somehow, even with ballistics. But the other group's moving around. This group's moving around. And now second town center for Tato. Leary's fine. Like, this could have gotten a whole lot worse. He's 3 TCs with Persians. There's no Civ better at getting the villagers out of those town centers than Persians. And those crossbows just have not quite done enough. And Leary has that central position, which makes the game so easy to play long term. And he just got that third relic. Didn't spot Tato, or maybe he does see Tato now, coming in on this side. Tato, unfortunate not to get some villager picks. And to me, it's felt like with ballistics, he should have killed a couple of these. And now he drops the third TC. Leary has a decision to make now, because normal Leary fashion, he would go archers, and he would play towards bracer timing. But Persians don't get bracer. So I think the best thing you could do, if you're going to go imp, is get the stone and just try and get to trebs. Apart from that, if you don't like that idea, if that's not realistic, I'd say start getting knight upgrades and start to make a switch into knights. He does have the food eco for that. Tato just finding it so difficult to do damage right now. I like chat's instincts that Tato needs something to kill the siege and that he should try elephants with melee. Your instincts seem to be on point, but let's not forget there's a monastery here. So Leary can just have a couple monks around, and I'm not sure elephants will work well. But if you make enough elephants, obviously you can snowball it pretty quickly. And Tato with the split micro, unfortunately firing uphill though, so harder for him to get the kills there. Does get the kills. Leary maybe didn't know that was going to happen. Now he's aware. And now the Cav Archer from Leary moves in, and I'm pretty sure he saw an elephant. I think he should have seen an elephant in there. Tato needs to hide the elephants. And he needs to use the cross. Okay, well, there's the elephants. It's kind of hard to hide them. But Tato needs to use the crossbows against the monks. And if he does this, he can clear this. Leary's saving up for a castle. That's a lot of elephants. From 0 to 6 elephants out of nowhere from Tato. The micro's insane. And he will lose elephants, but maybe as long as you kill the siege, who cares? Because your crossbows could do everything else for you. Monk down, monk down, monk down. There's not enough resistance or defense here for Leary. And Leary's house walls are hilarious, but I still don't think he saves his mangonels. And now if Tato could drop a castle in the middle, imagine how strong that would be. Also, a lot of Leary's food eco is just these villagers randomly on these berries. So it's not like that's all farm setup. Tato's coming with the vills. That's where he wants to drop the castle. But now there's a mangonel, again from Leary. I think that's a good castle to place. You just need to take the mangonel first. There's no way the Cav Archers defend. Tato, be careful. Ah! Oh my god, he almost lost the castle foundation. Leary knew that was a castle foundation, and he went for the attack round. I really thought Tato was bound to lose that. Tato, you still need to defend your villagers building your castle. Oh, look at that Chad walking over the castle foundation. And now the elephant's there too. Tato's fine. Tato's fine. Leary will not get that castle up. Leary could get this castle up, though. And if he gets this castle up... that's also his imp TC. But yeah, if he gets this castle up, he can make trebs to push Tato's castle down. Tato still hasn't clicked imp. Crazy game. But if Tato could just bring 3 elephants with these crossbows, it's almost impossible for Leary to defend. Leary does not have enough normal army right now. Tato will dive for that mango. Now the castle fire is pretty significant. I think Tato's just forcing the mangonels out of position. At least he kills one. Yeah, now the crossbows can move into the back of Leary's base. And how often do you see Leary panic with towers like this? Not that frequently, because he's usually not in this predicament. And Tato needs imp, though. Leary 30 seconds away. And now even Stonewall's here from Leary. And Leary's Persian, so he'll make it to imp no problem. I think Leary was also debating a market or a wall there to trap those crossbows in. And Tato just backs away. So Tato's now 2 minutes from imp. Still a bigger eco for Leary. Incredible game for both. It's been such a fun one. And Tato has had a lot of time safe at home to manage his eco. But he does have to micro a lot. So I'm not sure things are going to be perfect. Looks pretty close to perfect, though, the more I look at it. Also, Tato is stealing the relics from that monastery and bringing them back home right now, which is an amazing move. Leary with the attack round on the mangonel, which is hilarious because Tato didn't split. And Leary cannot get Bracer, his favorite upgrade. But he does get armor, and he's getting Parthian now as well. So these should be pretty tanky Cav Archers. No ballistics, but they can run in close with that much tankiness. And that's smart thinking there from Leary to just run in. Don't try and micro from distance. And now he's got 6 pierce armor. The crossbows were doing 1 damage. That was quite the clear up. And that can be quite the unit comp for Leary to stick with. Leary's Trebs. He'll wall in there. And Tato's now an imp. Now, Tato can get imp upgrades, which can make the fights much better against those CA. But Leary will have the center hill. And Tato knows he'll need skirms. So skirms will be in production with these crossbows. And he knows he'll lose this castle. This is it. This makes the game so tough when you don't have mobility. Tato's Civ is slower. Leary has the middle. Leary could just switch sides, in theory, with raids later on. If Leary can ever get onto light cav, Tato's base is wide open for raids. There's also some tiny details here, too. Like, Leary has houses here. He sees that gold. Leary has a house here. He sees that army. He knows about this gold. But Leary doesn't quite have the eco to make a full switch yet. He'll stay on range units for a little while. Cav Archers to the left side. They now will find skirmishers against them. Not necessarily the best thing to see. And over on the right side, Tato has Arbalest, but Leary knew this was coming, and Leary's massing his own skirms. And yeah, you don't get Bracer, but with full armor, your skirms are going to be fine enough to hold this. But Tato gets Bracer, and he gets armor. So he hasn't gone for the armor yet, but once he gets that and a couple bombard cannons, this could be good for him. Finally, Leary gets ballistics. And Tato's 4 relics. That's a huge deal. So hard to get 4 relics on this map. Leary did the work for him. There's just 1 in the middle yet. But Leary will get that at least. And skirms from Leary will chase down the Arbs. I'd expect Tato to lose these Arbs. At least if ballistics was in, he'd be losing the Arbs. But Tato knows that Leary doesn't have ballistics. Well, he's just letting his units fight. Never mind. But he killed off a couple of the skirms at least. Yeah, now he's microing again. Yeah, getting some kills. I guess chemistry isn't in either for Leary. Okay, that makes sense. Well, this would be good for Tato because that's a gold that Leary's going to need. He does still have other gold in the back of his base, but he really needs the right side lockdown. And Tato's now pushing to the middle with a pretty big army. I would love for someone to look at Leary's win rates with civilizations that get Bracer and Arbalest, and then his win rates with civilizations that don't. I'm very curious on the stats there. Because if he had Bracer and Arb here with this eco, he would have... I'm pretty confident he would have hit a timing of some kind, right? But it's more awkward. He doesn't really like to play a lot of Cav. He can do so, but he just don't see it in tournaments that frequently. I'm sure the win rates aren't like this crazy. It's not like he's a bad player at anything. But if anything, you might want to look at the draft rate. Like, I think against Yo, 6 out of his 8 civs got Bracer and Arbalest, and Yo's, like, had 2. There's just a difference of approach there, right? Leary taking that long switch into Cav, getting the armor. Both players almost 200 pop. 62 on food for Leary's incredible. Nice save here from Tato. Comes all the way home. Saves those units. Right side. This is where Leary needs to get gold right now. That's still a big issue. And he wasn't even able to keep this relic for that long. Tato really starting to push right now. And Tato's brought in 1,400 gold from those 4 relics he stole from the middle. Maybe Tato will soon drop a castle in the middle because he's pushing this position. Tato, he goes for elite battle elephant. I think that's a great call. The units are cheap. But you know, the big thing here is that Leary doesn't have a real solid counter teched into right now. He hasn't gone for Halbs. He doesn't have many monks anymore. Leary loses the castle. Leary's got all this pop, but it just isn't resulting into military that he needs. Persians need to be on Cavalier. They need to be on Savar. Skirmishers and even Cav Archers. Not the units you really want to be on right now. Leary has to dodge with these skirms all the time. The elephants can just dive in, making it so nice for Tato to take the position. He'll drop a castle here. Leary obviously sees that. Leary has some Trebs and Bombard Cannons around. That's maybe risky for Tato to build it on the left side instead of where his army is. I don't love this for Tato. The idea is sound. The position and the timing may be a little bit off. I mean, that castle's just a waste of stone. The castle's down. The Trebs he must not have seen. But now Elite Battle Elephant is in for Tato. Now, if he saved that, and he built the castle right behind his Bombard Cannons, I'd like it a lot. But in tense moments, I got to keep reminding you, Leary has no gold. Leary is running out of gold. He only has those 5 vills on gold. He isn't on the right side of his base. I don't know how easily he could push without gold. Now, Hussar is a good tool to push with, but it's hard to get through the berries. And the units are just not able to pass through there where the Arbs and the elephants are. And then here the elephants are just chewing up everything. That elephant pushes all of the 5 Bombard Cannons from Leary back. Might even snipe them. And Leary's like, come on, dude. Like, what's the pathing? But honestly, the map is kind of designed around these berries. And even though he can path through to get some of the Bombard Cannons, he will still not get all of them. And his other Bombard Cannons are still being chased by a few elephants. The elephants are just such an annoying addition into the battlefield. They're so tanky. And the key for me is really the fact that they're just cheap for Tato. Leary, I think he's running out of steam. It's weird to say he's running out of steam at 180 pop, but his 180 pop is just worse. He's got 22 skirms. He's got 15 hussars. These Bombard Cannons are all going to die. And there's no time to go help. Which obviously you would want against elephants. Tato's also going to be coming for this relic. That'll be 5 relics for Tato. And Leary was not able to raid Tato at all. The Hussar edition never raided the sides, never raided the eco. It went right into the meat grinder. And GG. Tato wins. That was a really fun game from Tato, man. Like, how many times do you see Leary just dominate you when you try and do the same thing? Usually on Kawasan, everyone builds a Dark Age dock. That's the standard. And then you see, where did the opponent dock? And that information's fairly available, and then you adapt. Tato didn't do that. He waited until he saw where Leary docked. He went man-at-arms, which caught Leary off guard. And then Leary was thinking, oh, he's not going to go water. Oh, actually, no, he is. He's going to go water on both sides. I think the issue for Leary was that he wasn't really sure what army to make this game. He made 107 skirmishers, but only like 21 cav archers. Normally, you need a gold unit to rely on, and he didn't really have one. Again, maybe he needed to build the castles more forward and get a treb position there. The castles were fairly defensive, but he had to play defensive because Tato came to the middle and took the hill. The elephant switch from Tato in Castle Age was sick to snipe all that siege. And Leary just didn't have an answer. So Leary loves his range units and maybe should have played through knights there. I'm not too sure. When he made it to Castle Age, he didn't really have the eco to go knights. He had the eco to boom. So lots of wood, lots of food, not near as much gold and stone there. And Tato 1 win away from third place, which is an extra $1,300 in prize pool. Tato will certainly be happy about that. Here we go. Could be a long game. Could also be a very short game. That is how things tend to go on Black Forest. And some of the behind-the-scenes conversations on Black Forest is there have been players complaining that some players spawn closer to the wall area. And Tato chose to save his scout here. And so there's a 1-tile gap. And he's not going to get the wall down yet. Yes, he gets it. Wow. Also, Butcher gifted 50 more sub. Butcher, I didn't mean to bait you. It was a joke. Well, let's be honest. Like maybe 12%. I thought there was a 12% chance that maybe we get more subs off that. I'm not going to, fully lie. But thank you so much. So Tato gets the walls down. Lieutenant Dan is going to do the same because why not? You guys are insane. Thank you. Now I can't see the people who've actually subscribed individually to thank them. So now I feel bad. But I'll go back and I'll get to them. We got a pawn generation here. And it's 1 shorefish. So if you're going to go for the dock approach, you better be ready to add fish traps with only 1 shorefish. There's 3 relics on both sides, so that's even. Are there extra boars? There's no extra boars. Oh, wait. Oh, there are 2 extra boars. Okay, I thought that was standard. And it's played on Explored, so they can obviously see everything. So when it's walls like this, a lot of players are going Tower Rush. And Leary's down 2-1. He will probably feel like he needs to do some damage against the Britons, so I could see barracks for Man-at-Arms and towers from him. He's only gone for 1 layer of wall. He does see Tato's gone 2, though. So, and Tato goes for the dock. So he is going to think about the more long-term approach, which is a little surprising. Which civ do you think is better here, guys? Like, Goths are scary for Britons, but I think Britons are better. You could use the choke point. You have champions. You have Arbs with crazy range. Warwolf Trebs. I like Goths in this matchup if the map can be open and you can build barracks and raid with Huskarls. But if there's just a choke point, I'm not so sure I'm a big fan of Goths. But either way, Goths are really good at being aggressive early. So present day, I think we should see some aggression and some craziness from Leary, and we're definitely going to see that. And Leary bringing in 2 more boars. Yeah, you guys are right. Goths get bomber cannon, but longbows can snipe that. But these are all super late game things for Britons. So that's why I'm a little surprised Tato's going for the dock. Because when you go for the dock, you delay your feudal age. I actually think maybe Tato could have gone for Man-at-Arms himself. Just play Man-at-Arm Archer as almost defense for a push that is most likely going to come. But obviously if Tato can defend from this, and Tato gets some fish traps around the dock, which you can only do in feudal age, then he should be in a pretty good spot. Gory, thank you for the 10-month. Guys, we had 3 people subscribe, and then a bunch of subs got gifted, so I cannot see you. If it was you, I'm sorry, and thank you. Tato's up. Okay, so Tato's not going, like, very clear fast castle. This feels like a defensive move. And here comes Leary. Tato might need to wall a little bit more here. I think the second you see Fuselage and a tower, you build another layer or two while you still can. You can, even if it's 3 layers of palisades, as much as you're able, just give yourself some space to breathe here. Yep, he sees it. Well, the walls got deleted, so that's the main thing he noticed. I don't think Tato can fast castle off this. There's no way. There's too many things he's going to have to do. But he drops another layer. He should drop another one. And then maybe even stick around with most of your vills. And whichever one's attacked by the tower, try and micro that. Smart reactions from Tato. And obviously he cannot stonewall because he's still in the Dark Age. But pretty soon, he can build a tower. Or he can build stone walls. And he's kind of waiting for that. Patience here. And he can drop a tower behind. And that I don't mind. You don't want the tower to be in tower range of Leary, because Leary will happily try and shoot that down. And now a stone wall from Tato. And his tower will have him be pretty secure here. Now, I say it's not a fast castle for Tato. It's like, it's in the middle, right? But it's actually perfect because he's added more eco. He's gone for the greedy approach, but not so greedy that he couldn't defend from this. If he had the resources to perfectly click up to Castle Age when he made it to Feudal, he would have died to this push. So we call it an average castle. I mean, if we want to give credit to Tato, we should say like a defensive fast castle time. I don't know if there's really a term for it. Saying it's average implies that Tato made a mistake of some kind. So yeah, if you guys ever get to Feudal Age too fast and you can't click up to Castle Age, just be like, no, bro, I didn't screw up. It's a defensive castle time. It's all calculated. Just in case he pushes me. Now, the problem for Leary is his man-at-arms are just here for moral support. They don't do anything now. And he can't stonewall behind this. So other civs would push, and then they'd stonewall the position. Goths don't get stonewall. So there's no guarantee Tato's not going to be aggressive here. So if Tato wanted to go like a couple knights and some siege, suddenly Leary could have some problems. Obviously, Tato wins this game. We prep for the finals. And Tato's on stone very heavily here. So this is definitely for aggression. And it's got to be for a castle. We'll see if he has the stone for that. And he already has his 2 fishing ships on fish traps. So he'll add a few more. And this should be slight advantages for Tato. Britons are just so good. Their town centers are cheaper. The extra range on the archers is free. They're so good on this map, I should say. They have some weaknesses on other maps. Leary will click up soon. Now, how will Leary approach this? I think Leary might just want to boom. Drop town centers. And maybe you think if you can get to 100 or so villagers with a castle, you have a chance against the Goths. But Leary didn't incorporate fishing ships into this build. And Tato has the ability to add eco as he's on the way to the next stage. Leary does not. That's because of the dock. Yeah, there's not a $13,000 difference between 3rd and 4th place. It's a 1.3K difference between between the places. Don't forget the point. $13,000 jump for 3rd and 4th place would be a completely different story. But obviously, $1,300 is sick for both these two. There's also, like, the benefit of like, your overall tournament rankings. Like, your world rankings go up or down based on this resolve against the other. I think Tato coming into this tournament was, like, world rank 8 or 7. Leary was maybe 2. There's all those things you look at. But obviously, these two just want to compete. And Leary calls the GG. He These two want to compete. Leary's like, I think I'm dead, and it's a third place match, and whatever. I still make a lot of money. And let's be real, third place match is just killing time before the finals anyways. So Leary just calls the GG when he sees the Castle Age. I mean, let's be real. Tato's way ahead. Tato's got the fish boom. Tato's did Castle Age faster. Tato played it perfectly. I think Britain's probably have some slight edges. Would we have liked to see Leary play this out a little bit longer? See what's possible. Really fight for it. Absolutely. But Leary wanted to win this whole tournament. And this is the third place match. So that's it. Guys, Leary did not forget to click up. When you resign, all your resources get refunded. So don't freak out. That's common. That's how that's how the game works. He thought he was dead. That's it. There's nothing more to it. He said, I'm dead. The matchup's bad, and Tato wins 3-1. So congratulations to Tato. We now have some time to prepare, but the final is going to begin shortly between Hera and Yo. Thank you guys for being here already. But third place match was just to get us warmed up. Dude, that was so funny how it's like, there's a lot to fight for. There's a lot of reason to stay in this. And Leary's like, I'm out of here. I get you guys want to see more fight. But like, even though it's easy for us to think, oh, that money would be nice or whatever, people want to win. It's the winning spirit. It's being the champion that they fight for. So